Thanks for the support as a channel member, LOLLUJO71. Wolfsburg and Spurs in one episode. We could potentially pretty much have the Bundesliga sewn up and prove to everyone that this team's better than that team. Or it could all go very badly wrong. Hello, welcome to Club 5, part 16 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our big Bundesliga game at home against Wolfsburg. Well, to be fair, since we planned this, they've had a little bit of a collapse. We're currently 8 points ahead of them in the league, and Dortmund are very much catching up on them, as are Leipzig. So I think the Wolfsburg challenge might be over. But hopefully we can really over it today. And then we're going to skip the Frankfurt game and play the first leg of the Champions League first knockout round at home against Tottenham, who, of course, because they're Tottenham, are currently third in the Premier League, because that is where they like to hang out. So this is the team that we're going to put out there for the game against Wolfsburg, which is, I won't say it's a title decider, but you know, we'll be 11 points clear after this if we can win. So fingers crossed we keep our long winning streak going, our long unbeaten streak going, and get one step closer to getting our dirty little fingers all over the Bundesliga trophy. Is it a shield, like a plate thing? Is that what you get in the Bundesliga? I think it's a big plate. I'd like to eat my dinner off a big plate. Farron in goal, a back four of Kryju, Tigges, Banfalvi and Dombrowski, Vermonti at the base of the midfield, Andre and Lust ahead of him, Van der Hoek and Gashi supporting Thorgerson up front. You'll note we're still playing the slightly more defensive version of the system with these two back on support mentalities that we switched to for the Dortmund game. That's because Pastkev forgot to change it back and then we won 3 games. So I'm a little bit, don't really know if I need to change it. I think I will. I'll change it back. We'll change it back because we are at home. And I have now remembered, now I've seen it. So we'll change it back and hopefully it won't all go wrong. If it all goes wrong, it's your fault. You know what happened the last time I switched that up and it all went wrong. So fingers crossed, doesn't go wrong today. Bayern versus Wolfsburg, massive, massive game. They've got Porras up front, who of course they signed from us without him playing a game for us. Adama in midfield, who I had at Tottenham and never gave him a game either. So there's lots of, well, there's 2 Kev rejects in their team, and we are, as you can see, 8 points clear at the top of the league, plus 20 goals of goal difference on them as well. So fingers crossed, everything points towards a Bayern win today. So Dombrowski with the throw, looking for Gashi, can't quite find him, but it ends up with Vermonti, and then Lust back to Vermonti again, who picks out nobody. I thought it was going to be right on Van der Hoek's head. Kryju plays Van der Hoek in beautifully though, who rather than squaring it for Thorgerson, decided to have a shot of his own. He really should, I mean, he had the opportunity to just put that on a plate for Thorgerson. It was a lovely pass from Vermonti, as is standard. But Van der Hoek, I expect a little bit more from him in that kind of situation, and now he's got himself sent off. Because I was mean to him, and now he's got a sulk on and picked up a red card with just a really violent lunge. He's kicked that guy in the nuts, basically. We're going to leave that as it is. Andre can come and fill this area. I'm not going to fiddle with things too much. No changes, thank you. That does change things up a little bit. We have had a couple of times where we've gone down to 10 men this season and continued to dominate games as if we had 11. It's not unheard of, but Wolfsburg are the second best team in the division at the moment. So it's not really the ideal circumstances to continue testing that theory. Vermonti finds Tigges, and there's Kryju, who basically has to operate the left-hand side all on his own at the moment. Plays it back infield to Vermonti, who's looking for options, remembers Van der Hoek's not there, and it comes back to Tigges. That's it. Get it over the other side where we've got an excess of players. Gashi's got Dombrowski available for the overlap, doesn't need him, skips past 1, skips past 2, and then shoots just wide. Another example of, please, won't somebody give the ball to Thorgerson, who once again was in a perfect goal-scoring position, and for whatever reason, we just have an idiot shooting across goal after doing so very well. Right, let's what should we say? Come on, lads, we may be a man down. We can still get a result here. I think that's probably the best thing to say in the circumstances. A 0-0 draw here isn't a disaster by any means. We'd still be 8 points clear with, what, 12 games to go? So that's still a decent total, but obviously we want to be 11 points clear. Thorgerson's in there, but it's a good last-ditch challenge from the Wolfsburg defender, and we've got a corner And set pieces, you don't notice you're a man down at set pieces. This should be an opportunity. Lust with the corner, looking for, I don't even know who he's looking for there. He doesn't find him though. And former Spurs man Adema is leading the charge. And Vermonti's got himself sent off as well, hasn't he? Tell me, no, he hasn't. He's not even been booked. There's no consistency in this refereeing. Well, I'm not complaining that we didn't even pick up a yellow card there, but it was a very cynical challenge from Vermonti, who finds Gashi back to Dombrowski. Gashi continued his run, but instead we find Vermonti. Andre Krajew's on the overlap. Vermonti picks him out, as he does. Krajew trying to get the crossover, can't, and Andre has now drifted wide to occupy the area left vacant by Van der Hoek, and he finds Dombrowski by switching the play, who skips past his man, and for the third time in the game, a wide player does brilliantly, but then selfishly shoots. Right, I mean, is Thorgerson invisible today? He stood there in a perfect position for the three best moves of the game, and we're just not noticing that he exists. I don't understand. We're going to bring on O'Hara, and we're going to bring on Miguel's, who apparently I'm still saying it wrong, but I'm just decided not to learn to say it right. As we're ignoring that we have a striker, I'm just going to play those two like that, and just let's not have a striker then. Let's just play with two wide players. Miguel's will cut inside. Lust will hopefully come up and join the attack as well. We've had O'Hara score plenty of goals from out wide this season. Bayern Munich go strikerless. And here is Miguel's on the counter-attack. If he beats this man, he's clear. He plays it through brilliantly to O'Hara, who is now clear. And again, shoots when there's players in the middle that you could square the ball to. I need that printing on a shirt, or like a stamp to smack into their heads when they ignore the obvious pass. I don't know what's got into them today. We're going to bring Marquez on, swap those two over so Andre can be the box-to-box midfielder. Marquez can get a little bit more attacking. A goal here will make me sick, but it's going in. I know it's going in. I've played this game before. Wolfsburg about to score. We get away with it a little bit. It's time for 10 minutes of passion to finish things off. Come on, lads. Now would be the time for one of those late goals where we just grind out a result despite not playing well. And Miguel's has got it in the back of the net. I think he's offside, which is ridiculous from a free kick. How could he be offside? I mean, we don't even know. Oh, how do you get yourself offside from a free kick? You can... Just don't stand in an offside position when a free kick's happening, you idiot. I've fallen out with all of my players today. This is not how I wanted to get us ready for the Tottenham game. Luckily, we've got that Frankfurt game in between the two to settle me down a little bit and hopefully get back to winning ways. At least we've kept the unbeaten run going. At least we still have the 8-point gap. That wasn't how that game was meant to go, and I blame this man completely. And I don't know why our club code of conduct isn't working anymore, and I'm having to do stuff like this manually. Right. 52 games unbeaten is silly, though. I'll admit that's silly. Right, let's go play Frankfurt, and then I'll be back with you for the Tottenham game. Well, the Frankfurt game didn't go to plan either. A 1-1 draw. This time, no 10 men. This isn't how this episode was supposed to go. We're now only 6 points clear at the top of the league. And worryingly, I'm less worried about Wolfsburg than I am Dortmund, who are closing that gap. Only 9 points now between us and Dortmund. It's very much a reverse scenario from last season, and we caught them and then got the trophy, and that is how history remembers it. Forget what it says up there. That's a typo. We'll worry about the Bundesliga again tomorrow. For now, though, Tottenham. And this is the team we're putting out there for the Tottenham game. Ferron in goal, a back four of Krajewski, Tigges, Banfalvi and Dombrowski. Vermonti behind Andre and Marquez, and then Van der Hoek and Gashi supporting Thorgerson up front. This is the first time facing Tottenham since I left. I have no idea how much of my team still exists there. Obviously, I brought a fair few of them over with me to Bayern, but it's going to be interesting to see what's been done with what's left, with the remnants. So Francisco's still there. Marcos, who we had on loan last year, now back in their defence with Rodriguez and Serra, who I signed but never got to play. Philippe Comelli was my backup right back, wasn't he? So he's playing along with Jair. So Tottenham coming and playing a flat back six, which is interesting. Carter and Rott in midfield, and then Fernando plus a new guy called Basta. Dickinson, Fotheringham, Kamara, who I signed, I think. Vance is on the bench. Gravenberch on the bench is a weird one. And then two players I'm not familiar with. This whole setup is odd. Marcos wasn't good enough to sit on our bench last year, so to have him in the back three is weird. Playing 2 right backs is weird. I don't know where Vargas is and why he's not playing there. But I look at that and think, well, we're better than them, but that's going to be hard to break down. So let's see how things go. Hopefully, they're now playing in a system that doesn't suit Jair, although having him playing as a wing-back probably does suit him more than what I was doing with him. It's just where he's got the freedom to go and do Jair things. I expect a win to keep our run going. Exactly. That's exactly what I expect. Of course, we have a few of our former Tottenham players in the team. Banfalvi and Vermonti both starting. Leo Guerrero and Antonio Carlos down on the bench as well. So there's going to be players who want to beat Spurs almost as much as I want to beat Spurs. Krajcu finds Vermonti. He's definitely going to be one of them. Andre, back to Vermonti. Vermonti picks Dombrowski out beautifully, who's got the opportunity to skip past his man. And again, it's like it's the theme of today's episode. Why are we not crossing? What has Thorgerson done to upset every wide player at the club? Because that wasn't happening before. And now all of a sudden it is. Has there been an update to the game that has just ruined wide players and made it so they don't pass anymore? I don't understand what's happening. We need to learn to cross. Spurs have had all the possession as well, which is, I guess, when they're playing a flat back 6 is only to be expected. Let's passionately say, time to dig in. We need goals in this second half. Let's release our attacking players a little bit more. There might be an argument for bringing someone on in this little gap here. I think Van der Hoek can probably play there, because I think we did play him there when I first arrived. So we could potentially bring Miguel's on the left, move Van der Hoek into that gap. We won't do it immediately. I'm just going to swap those two over as well and get Marquez further forward and just hope that we can find a way to break through against a very, very, very defensive Tottenham team, which I just feel like they're going to hit me on the break and ruin my day. They're doing tactics. We never used to do tactics when I was at Spurs. We just used to put players out there. Vance has now come on, so that's another one of my former players on the pitch now. Krajcu finds Vermonti, who in turn finds Marquez, back to Krajcu again, who, I mean, he won't cross because he's a wide player. Vermonti, he can cross, finds Dombrowski, who of course is going to shoot, isn't he? Plays it back to Gashi, who does shoot, and it works. We get the breakthrough. Gashi makes it 1-0 on the 67th minute. It's Bayern 1, Tottenham 0. I still feel like this should have been last season's final for a proper end to that section, that chapter of the story, but if we have to knock them out in the first knockout round this year, then that's how we'll do it. Gashi, lovely finish from him, an 18th goal of the season, puts him back to the top of our goal scorers charts, I believe. But there's still poor performances from some of these other strikers. We're going to bring Antonio Carlos on. I wouldn't normally bring him on. I'd normally bring O'Hara on and put Gashi up front, but I just feel like if there's ever going to be a game where we get a performance out of Antonio Carlos, it's going to be against Tottenham. Even with his famous low determination that we all speak of so much, surely he's going to want a goal against this lot, isn't he? You would think, just to show that, Jair, I miss him so much. Oh, for goodness sake. That's 2 big matches now in 2 successive days where Ferron has just been poor. I don't know why he suddenly turned into a dodgy keeper. But Jair, of course, doing some Jair things. Cross comes over to Vance and Ferron, it's gone under him again. It's exactly the same as what happened yesterday. I think, was it yesterday's episode or the day before, where he conceded almost the exact same goal. 1-1 from this first leg is effectively a victory for Spurs. They've come here, stuck men behind the ball, got an away goal, and now they're still attacking. Philippe luckily misses out, and Andre, now trying to get a counter-attack going, finds Miguel's, who's got options ahead of him. He's going to ignore them all, race through on his own, and that's a lovely goal from Miguel's to make it 2-1. And we're saving a little bit of face here, and that was a lovely finish. That's what happens when you switch your wide players to inside forward, and it doesn't matter if they're going to shoot because they're in field. They can actually shoot. They have an angle to shoot from, and he's just torn that Spurs defence apart with some lovely direct running. I approve wholeheartedly of what's just happened. Marquez is now going to... we haven't got anyone to bring on for him. You know what? I'm tempted to bring O'Hara on for Gashi. I know Gashi's played well, but 10 minutes of O'Hara at the end of a game that's got to be something that's going to scare Philippe, who's on a yellow card. He's playing really poorly. Let's get O'Hara on to just absolutely ruin him. They've just brought Gravenberch on for Marcos, so a more attacking change for Tottenham. Dombrowski plays it back to O'Hara, and the move just ends. They've now gone to a 4-3-3. They're mirroring our system now. A third goal here, and I feel a little bit better about the away goal that they've scored. Dombrowski plays it to Vermonti, floats it in for Miguels, and Francisco keeps hold of it. It was straight at him, and it looks like Miguels was offside anyway. 2-1 is not ideal, but it's better than 1-1 would have been. And it certainly leaves us with a very interesting setup for the away leg, which is what you're going to see in tomorrow's episode. 'Cause we've got to show both the Spurs games. So tomorrow we'll do Spurs and Fortuna Dusseldorf in the league. And hopefully we'll get some league form back in between the two and go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or whatever stupid thing it's called, and come away with a victory. That's what we need to do. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.